dog status, I'm a big dog vet.
What's going on, y'all? Welcome to the Struggle to Strength podcast. Yes, we finally have a name. We think we're going to put out a poll. It's between two things. This podcast essentially serves as a place for us to educate, inspire, and connect with like-minded individuals on all topics: health, fitness, business, life, etc. Basically, if it relates to the mind, muscle, or money, you'll find it here. I am your host, Josh Levine. I am joined by my co-host, Travis Hatch, and today we have a really, really great topic for you. We're going to dive deep into the who, what, how, why, and when, everything of reverse dieting. This is a topic that does not have a lot of formal research, but does have a ton of anecdotal evidence, especially in the physique enhancement circle. And we know how incredibly important it is to improving overall health. So without any further ado, let's dive in.
Let's do it.
All right, Travis, what's going on, man? Before we really get started, of course, I always want to know how you're doing. Tell us.
I'm doing good. Yeah, there's a lot going on. I was shooting with one of my clients yesterday. When we first started shooting like fitness videos together, I could see what I wanted it to look like. Wasn't really getting that with my camera. I'm like, oh man, it's a long learning curve, and the huge majority of that is just lighting, and I'm finally figuring it out. I'm finally getting there. I shot something with one of my clients the other day in a studio, which is incredibly hard to light if you're not like a lighting expert, and it looked fucking awesome, and it's on my Instagram, so you can go check it out. But just a perfect example of like, I didn't know what I was doing, and I just kept working at it and researching and trying things and researching and trying things, and I'm finally figuring it out.
It looks good.
Thank you.
It looks really good. Yeah.
And I'm finally getting to a point where I'm like happy with it, and I could say like, damn, I could show up to a studio and like light it and it looks good.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. It looks really, really good.
Very stoked
cool
on
to
that.
See.
And then the thing that's stressing me out is tax season's approaching. So I started my business. Things are going good. But I'm totally unorganized with like money's just flying around. I don't know what's happening. So
it's flowing like water.
It's flowing like water. Sometimes there's floods, and I need to figure out my accounting and shit. So if there's any accountants out there, bookkeepers, or anybody with advice, just holler at me.
Yeah. You need an accountant.
I need an accountant.
Yeah.
One that can help me get my shit together.
Yeah. I have a great accountant. His name's Andrew. He's one of my clients, actually. I can't do any of that. And I was talking to one of my business coaches yesterday. I was like, if I can pay someone to do something that I don't like to do and I can just outsource that, yeah, I'm going to do that.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to outsource as much as I can so I can focus on doing the things I love doing, which is training and coaching people.
Yeah.
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 That's awesome. I love that. My week's been pretty good. I'm starting to finally see the machine that I'm building with my business coach come together. Like I had a vision for what I wanted, and we've talked about this, you and I. Like I have a vision and I have all the pieces. I just needed someone to help me figure out how to put it together.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're building this machine, and I can see how I'm not going to really have to, it's going to work itself, and it's going to invite people to reach out to me. And the more people I can help, the better I'm doing my job. So, I'm really happy with that.
That's super exciting.
Yeah, it's cool. It's been really cool. So yeah, things are all good. I do want to get into this topic because I think it might go a little bit long. I want to try to keep this to an hour. Y'all, this is a very complex topic because there's not a lot of formal research and mostly anecdotal evidence. A lot of people are afraid of the concept of reverse dieting because for so long we've been told if you want to lose weight, you have to eat less and move more. And that is not always the case. So people are under the impression that if they eat more and move less, they're going to gain weight. And that's not always the case. So we're going to get into a lot about reverse dieting, and I'm probably going to speak from my perspective, my anecdotal evidence, and tell some stories that I think will help y'all understand what this is, how it works, why it works, and then how you can apply it to yourself. By the end of this podcast, I want y'all to be pretty confident with the concept of reverse dieting and with the idea that either by yourselves or with proper guidance. And I always, always, always recommend guidance, because we're human and we can't assess ourselves accurately without emotion like someone else can. I want you to not be afraid of reverse dieting and be willing and able to go through one on your own. So I think the easiest way for us to do this is, Travis, you're pretty much one of like an ideal client of mine. You understand some things about nutrition, you move well, you're pretty active, like you've been in a fitness routine before, but you've never really perfected or tried to optimize your diet. So I think what'll be really helpful is, I know you have a lot of questions about reverse dieting.
Yeah.
And I think you'll relate a lot to the listeners of this podcast. So if you want to ask me sort of the questions that you have about reverse dieting, we can go through that way and I'll answer them as we go, and we'll try to maintain some sort of structure here. And as questions pop up, we can just attack that.
Cool. Yeah. I'm just going to do a heckin' interview. How about that?
Let's do that. Yeah. You can just pick my brain for an hour and everyone gets to listen to it.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
No, 100%. And I am purposely coming from the standpoint of someone who's dumb and curious. So I could have done more research, listened to a little bit of stuff, read a little bit of stuff, enough to be very interested. This is something that I probably need to do and want to do, but I don't understand it. So this will literally be me learning about something and how to implement it, and then everyone else can get my information.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
All right, sick. All right, so first off, let's start from the beginning. What is dieting? How do you think of dieting?
So a diet is just creating a calorie deficit, right? If someone wants to lose weight, they have to be in a caloric deficit. That's the law of thermodynamics. If you want to burn fat as energy, you have to be consuming less calories than you're expending.
Right.
So we need your metabolism in that case to be very efficient in its use of energy so that you can move more and eat less.
Right.
And that may be the result, but usually you need to be in a calorie deficit. When we're thinking of dieting, something that I do want to talk about really quickly is your quote unquote body weight set point. Some people disagree with that terminology, but essentially it's the body weight that your body is comfortable being at. So how much do you weigh right now?
Like 190.
Do you fluctuate much?
Not too much.
So
within like a few pounds,
yeah.
Generally. Yeah.
So your body is really comfortable at 190 pounds.
Yeah.
Now, depending on what your caloric intake is, you may drop calories and it may be difficult for you to lose weight. That would be a sign that you need a reverse diet. But everyone has a body weight set point. That can change.
Wait, I'm sorry. So if I reduced calories and I started losing weight.
And you didn't lose weight.
And I didn't lose weight.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And you didn't lose weight. That would be a sign that there's some metabolic function that is inhibited or
right.
that is not working the way that we want it to, or some hormonal things. Maybe your
yeah.
endocrine system's a little off. A lot of times that's when someone has been consuming low calories for a long time. Like y'all, you need calories. You need a good amount of calories for your specific body, for your body to function properly. So if your body hasn't been getting enough calories, it's not functioning properly, meaning it's not healthy, which means it's not going to listen to what we want it to do.
Right.
So your body weight set point can change. When I first started lifting, I was pretty comfortable around 155, maybe 160 pounds.
And a body weight set point is basically like, so like I said, I weigh 190 years ago when I was lifting weights like a maniac and like eating as much food as physically possible, I could put on like muscle, and I think the most I weighed was like 215, 220, around there. And I was like, that was very heavy for me at that point. And then, years later, now I weigh 190, but given my current lifestyle, not focusing, like definitely not having any sort of like strict diet, like I eat healthy, but, and not like having like a strict workout regimen. If I eat more, I weigh around 190. If I eat less, I weigh around 190. Is that the idea? Like
exactly
where you kind of,
yeah.
And if you have that, then, or Yeah. Okay. Continue.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure that that's what.
That's exactly what it is. So, you know, and going the other way, when I first started lifting, I was very comfortable. It was hard for me to gain weight. I didn't really lose weight, but I was around 160.
Okay.
And I've had body weight set points everywhere in between. And now my body weight set point, like I'm very comfortable. It would be hard. Like I would have to actually try to diet to get below like 210, 215.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Which is 60 pounds heavier than I used to be.
Right.
So my body weight set point has changed. And it will change because we're human. We're always changing.
Yeah.
Like your body wants to stay the same. We are always changing. So getting into dieting, when you're in a diet, when you're in a caloric deficit, there are some hormonal adaptations that occur. Most noticeably, we see your hunger hormone, which is ghrelin, and your satiety hormone, which is leptin. They kind of like control your body weight set point. So leptin is your satiety hormone. That's the hormone that when you're eating, it's like, okay, this is enough. You're satiated. Mm-hmm. Ghrelin is your hunger hormone. That's the hormone that is like, okay, we need more food, or that's good. Like we're eating too much. Now, when you're in a surplus, leptin increases to tell you you're full, to keep you from gaining weight because it wants to keep you at that set point. When you're in a deficit, leptin decreases to make you eat more. Like you're not satiated, leptin decreases, your satiety hormone decreases to get you to eat more to keep you from losing weight. Okay. At the same time, ghrelin in a surplus, which is your hunger hormone, decreases. So when you're eating more calories, your hunger hormone decreases. It sends less hunger signals because it doesn't want you to change.
Right.
When you're in a deficit, ghrelin increases, telling you you're more hungry so that you don't lose weight because it doesn't want you to change.
Right.
So these things happen. So we need to be able to take into consideration what hormonal functions are occurring, what hormonal adaptations are occurring rather, and be able to adapt to them as in order to get your body to listen to what we want it to do. So your metabolism will adapt. When you're in a diet, you're eating less calories, your metabolism will adapt. Say you're eating 2,500 calories a day. Mm-hmm. You want to lose weight. You say, okay, I'm going to eat 2,200 calories a day. That's a 300 calorie per day deficit. That's 2,100 calories in a week. You should lose fat, right? You should lose weight. 1 pound of fat is 3,500 calories. So you should lose weight if you're in a 300 calorie a day deficit. And you might lose weight the first week. You'll probably lose weight the second week. Maybe the third week, it starts to slow down. Maybe the fourth week, you're not losing weight anymore. And then you're like, okay, I'm stuck. What do you do?
I don't know.
Most people would say, okay, well, I have to either move more
or eat less.
Right?
Yeah, that's
because your metabolism has adapted to that new 2,300 calories.
Right.
So your metabolism is the same metabolism that we had as humans thousands of years ago before grocery stores. Your metabolism doesn't know you can go to McDonald's and get a double cheeseburger and fries.
Right.
So your metabolism is running on 2,300 calories a day. It's adapted down because it recognizes that, oh, we're getting less food. We need to survive.
Yeah. Like burning fat is great for going to the beach, but it's not great for survival.
Exactly. Your metabolism
it means you're going to die soon.
Is just trying to survive.
Yeah.
So it will adapt to do that. It'll go from like, we want your metabolism to be like very inefficient, like a Ford F-350 truck. When you're in a deficit, it slowly turns into like a Toyota Prius.
Right.
So at that 2,300 calories, you stop losing weight. What happens? Okay, maybe we go down to 2,000 calories or 1,900 calories. And the same thing happens. You lose weight for maybe the first week or two, and then it slows down, and then it adapts.
Yeah, because it's a natural. It makes sense, right? It's a natural.
It's a survival mechanism.
Yeah, if you, that's probably literally how people used to be. You got used to eating a little bit of food, starts to run out. You got used to eating a little bit of food, and like your body's going to keep up with that. It's going to be like, all right, we're going to maintain at this.
Yep.
At this amount because I
need
to fucking survive.
Yeah. Otherwise you die. And way back in the day, we didn't have grocery stores or like McDonald's or anything. Right. You had to hunt for your food.
Yeah, so, you had to survive until the next
till the next hunt,
kill or whatever,
or till whenever you could get, if you're in winter, whenever you could, the spring comes and you get some plants to feed on.
Yeah. Until Ronald McDonald invents the
until Ronald McDonald invents the McDouble.
Yeah.
So You keep on dieting down. Now you're at 1,900 calories. Now what do? You stop losing weight again.
Right. Yeah. Move more, eat less.
Right? But how long can you do that for?
Yeah, not very long.
No. So as you continue to diet down and feed yourself less and move yourself more, you're going to experience tons of negative hormonal adaptations. Your testosterone is going to tank. Women's estrogen is going to be manipulated. Leptin and ghrelin are going to change drastically. You're going to get hungrier and hungrier, and your body's going to tell you that you need more and more food. Your thyroid, even your thyroid downregulates. Your metabolism downregulates. All these different things happen. You can't keep doing that. So we need to talk about reverse dieting at that point. You'll get down to a point in your diet where you can't go any lower. I don't care if you haven't reached your fat loss goals. You may still have fat to lose. You can't be eating 1,000 calories a day. That's not okay.
Right. Yeah.
So what we then need to do is go into a reverse diet.
Okay. Mm-hmm. That makes a lot of sense. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
So my next question is, what is a reverse diet?
I had a feeling you were going to ask that question. So I like Lane Norton's definition of what a reverse diet is. And Lane Norton is one of the godfathers of reverse dieting. Because reverse dieting is so heavily founded in physique enhancement and bodybuilding, Lane is a very intelligent dude. Some people think he's an asshole. I think he's very smart. He's kind of an asshole, but he's a smart asshole. So Lane defines a reverse diet as a dietary goal to increase calories and expenditure while limiting unnecessary fat gain. So essentially what we're trying to do is we're trying to get you to eat more without gaining fat.
Right.
Okay. So we just went through the whole process of how your metabolism down regulates as you start eating less food, right? Like you start at 2,500, you go to 2,300 or 2,200 and you lose some fat, and then your metabolism adapts and we have to do that again.
Right.
So we're good on that. The metabolism down regulates.
Yes.
Okay. Now to do that in reverse, we would simply raise calories. Now, the first thing that you're probably going to ask is, okay, but if I start at 1,500 calories and I increase 300 calories like we did in my reverse on the way on my diet on the way back down, if I lost fat on the way down, won't I gain fat on the way up?
Right.
It makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Based on your individual biofeedback, based on things like how low we've dieted you, how long you've been in a deficit for, your current blood work, your current digestion, sleep, recovery, all these different things. That gives me as your coach a very good insight into how aggressive I can be with your reverse diet. Yes, if you're eating 1,500 calories a day and you've been in that deficit for a year, you've been eating 1,500 calories a day for a year, and I bump you all the way up to 2,000, you're going to gain fat. Now, if you're only eating 1,500 calories a day, even if you've been doing it for a year, but I put you up to 1,550,
right,
50 calories a day, that's like 450 calories a week. I can't even do math.
Yeah.
That's very low.
350 a week.
350 calories a week. That's very low.
I'm smart.
The point is that that's not going to result in any fat gain. It's so slow.
Right.
But your metabolism will start to adapt. Now, something important to note here is that your metabolism is not exact. It's not an exact number. Like your basal metabolic rate, some people believe it to be an exact number, but when we take into consideration your total daily energy expenditure and everything, there's what's the word I'm looking for? A range. Mm-hmm. Your metabolism might keep your maintenance, if you're eating 1,500 calories, somewhere between 1,400 and 1,600 or 1,450 and 1,550. Mm-hmm. Like you're not going to gain weight if you eat 1,450 versus 1,550.
Right.
So if we very slowly start to move that range up and increase it in increments of as little as 30 calories, you're not going to gain weight.
I get what you're saying. Okay. So let's say I'm eating, like you said, 1,500 calories a day, mm-hmm. which is, not a lot.
It's very low.
Yeah.
Especially for a male.
If I were to start eating 3,000 calories a day, I'm going to get fat, but,
yes.
or at least gain fat.
Yep.
But there's kind of like a little grace
A gray
window,
area.
a gray area where if you bump it up by like 30 calories, whatever, your body isn't going to translate that into like fat growth, but now that's going to become the new marker.
Exactly.
Now you're up to that.
Your
Now
metabolism
I'm
will
up to
then
1530. Now I'm up to 1560.
Exactly.
And I slowly work my way
and
up.
that gray area keeps moving. So if that gray area started at 1450 to 1550 and we bumped you to 1550 and you stay there for a week or two, now your metabolism is probably going to run somewhere between 1500 and 1600.
So is it about like a week or two to get used to that new slight increase?
Very individualized, but usually a couple weeks is what I like to do.
How do you know?
So good question. That all heavily depends on biofeedback. So things like how your hormones are and how your digestion is and how you're sleeping and how you're recovering. And if your body weight changes with an increase, all of my one-on-one clients, we read highly into their biofeedback. It's a pretty extensive check-in that they send me each week. All that information together lets me know if they're ready for that increase or not and how drastic that increase can be. So if you, like, for example, if you diet down for a competition, like I did, I was in my diet prep, the competition was canceled, but I was in my contest prep. I was at a very severely low level of body fat, like not sustainable.
Mm-hmm.
That's not healthy.
Yeah.
Your body doesn't function. Honestly, I looked great, but I felt like shit.
Yeah.
So in that case, we were able to increase very quickly because I had to gain some body fat.
Right.
I wasn't healthy.
Yeah.
There's nothing healthy about being like 6-7% body fat as a male. It's unsustainable.
Right.
So we increased by 800 calories, and I was still able to maintain a relatively similar physique because my body was so much less stressed. And that's a whole nother thing that we can go into. I was much less stressed and my body was just happier and healthier. When your body's healthy, it listens to what we want. It looks better when it's healthy.
Right. Okay.
So yes, if you diet down for a competition, you can't stay that or you diet down for a low level of body fat. You can't stay that low. It's poor health. You have poor endocrine function. You have to reverse diet. Now, some things that will lead you to that point. Of course, you could just be in a diet. You could be in a fat loss phase where, you did your diet prep. You got ready for either your competition or photo shoot or a lifestyle client, maybe just wants to be able to look good at the beach, and you diet down and you're now at a pretty low caloric intake, especially if it's not conducive to a quality of life that you want to be able to sustain. Like, you want to be able to go out with your friends and have a drink or go out to dinner.
Right.
You can't do that at a low caloric intake. So that's one reason you might need to reverse diet. You may be in a long-term deficit, whether it's on purpose or by accident. The amount of clients that I get that come to me that are eating, as low as I've had clients come to me eating 800 calories a day.
That's insane.
It is insane. That's not healthy, but their metabolism has adapted to that. They don't realize that that's why they feel like shit. That's why you're not sleeping well. That's why your digestion sucks. That's why you have no energy. That's why your recovery is terrible. That's why you can't lose weight.
Right.
So that would be a reason to reverse diet, a chronic long-term deficit or chronically low intake. If you are a chronic cardio type person, you're doing hours of cardio on end, your body will recognize that. Your metabolism will actually down-regulate and quote unquote slow down, even though I hate using that term, because it realizes that, we're the metabolism, we don't have to burn a ton of calories because you're doing it for us.
Right.
You're doing hours of cardio every day. We don't have to do that.
So that's probably something that I want to touch on for a second. So because this is probably so many people.
Yeah.
So many people. If you're listening to this right now, if you're on the elliptical or the treadmill or running or whatever for hours a day and you're not losing weight or maybe even gaining weight,
you
this is for you. And I guarantee you there's at least 3 people listening right now. At least bare minimum.
Yeah.
That I'm talking about, because this is what's happening.
Yeah.
Like so describe a little bit like what is actually happening there, I guess.
With the chronic cardio?
Yeah. Well, like how could somebody be like, fuck, I work out, an hour or 2 hours every day or 5 days a week or 4 days a week and I'm gaining weight. Like why?
Well, the first thing we want to look at is stress. When it comes to physique enhancement, all we're doing is managing stress. So you and I were talking about this with you wanting to go to high altitude martial arts training.
Yeah.
Maybe 5 times a week.
Yeah.
If you wanted to lift weights on top of that, think about how stressful that is to your body.
Yeah.
You're literally getting beat up.
Yeah. Literally
5 times a week. Right. Yeah. And then you also want to beat yourself up in the gym, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
Right. Physique enhancement is just stress management. So if you're doing hours of cardio, that's a lot of stress on the body.
Yeah.
What happens when we're in a stress state? We are increasing cortisol production. We are in fight or flight mode. Regular functions of the body cannot operate optimally when we're in fight or flight mode. So we need to be able to balance our stress, because too much is not good and too little is not good. Right? Like if you train every day and no rest days, like no days off crew, that's too much. That you probably can't recover from that.
Yeah.
So that's too much stress. If you only train like once a week and you're eating a ton of calories, that's not enough stress. So stress is everything from a low caloric, it could be a low caloric intake. It could be too high of a caloric intake. It could be too much training. It could be too much cardio. It could be trouble at work, trouble at school, trouble at home. It could be you got punched in the face at your martial arts class. Your body does not know the difference between all these different types of stress, whether it's physical, mental, perceived stress, systemic stress. All your body knows is stress. It has one bucket for stress. We can't overflow that bucket.
Yeah.
So if you're doing hours of cardio a day and you're in a low caloric deficit, too much cardio is a high stress. Not enough food is a high stress. That's too much stress. So if we have you move less and eat more, we're removing some of the stress from your movement, your cardio. We're removing some of the stress from eating too little, and we're balancing that stress. So if we think of like an inverse U, we want to be right in the middle. So we're balancing that stress. Your body gets happy. Your hormonal function is restored. You see improvements in your leptin and ghrelin. You'll feel better. You'll have improved health, improved energy, improved drive in the gym. Your libido will probably go up. Less stress equals an improved physique. You'll have better workouts, better results, better well-being. So that's where we want to manage that. So if you're a chronic cardio person, we probably need to fix that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Interesting. All right. So what's the first step for fixing that?
For fixing someone who's a chronic cardio person or who just needs a reverse diet?
Yeah. How does that start off?
The first step is to understand where you're at calorically and what your biofeedback looks like.
So I would imagine it could be kind of tough for somebody to be doing this on their own.
Yeah, it's pretty tough just because it's tough to self-assess.
Yeah.
I mean, put it this way.
Because what if I have no idea how many calories I eat or really even, I mean, I was telling you before, I've counted macros like a couple times for like a week at a time. Didn't really, I don't really know how many calories or even really like where to start. It definitely seems like a daunting task, even knowing how many calories I'm eating.
Yeah. And you can figure it out. You can track your own macros. Yeah. Right. So the first thing that I usually have clients do is figure out what your current caloric intake is. Track your food for a week in MyFitnessPal or what Fat Secret, My Fat Loss Secret, whatever tracking app you use. My Fat Secret, I think it's called. I don't know. I use MyFitnessPal.
MyFitnessPal app.
MyFitnessPal. It's a blue app. It's got like a person. I think it looks like they're dunking a basketball. There's like an Under Armour logo at the top of it.
Sick.
And it's basically a calorie and macro tracking app. So you type in to their database what you're eating. Say you have like 4 ounces of sweet potato. You get a food scale, right? You have like 4 ounces of sweet potato and like 4 ounces of ground turkey, and you put some mixed veggies in there.
Yeah.
You know, you can like scan the bag of mixed veggies, and you can put in 4 ounces of ground turkey, 4 ounces of sweet potato, and it'll tell you how many calories that is and how many of each macro, how many grams of carbohydrates, fats, and proteins are in that meal.
So you're going to have to do some work.
You're going to have to do some work. It's not easy.
So at the end of the day, you can keep feeling like shit, not sleeping well, getting fat, and just like feel like a pile of shit in general, and stress about that all the time and worry about it all the time and probably complain about it all the time to the people around you. Or you can like do a little research, go get a food scale, get this free app, and start doing the work of like, just step one, like how many fucking calories are you eating?
Yeah.
What are you eating?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. So,
Like,
because to me, I mean, it's like, it sounds like a lot of work, right? It's like, but you know, I'm probably, yeah. Like if it's a problem, then is it more work than the amount of time you're putting into having your problem?
Exactly. And I think the important thing to note there is that some people don't know it's a problem.
Yeah.
Because it's like this. Remember the last time you got sick? Do you get sick? I don't really
Very
get sick.
rarely.
I get sick very rarely. But when you're sick, especially, I think
There's a dog in here.
There's a dog in here. Hey, Dexter. Especially when I think males are worse at being sick than women are.
Oh, I'm such a bitch when I'm sick.
Such a bitch.
Oh,
Help.
once
But-
every couple of years.
Yeah, once every couple of years,
Hey.
we get sick, right?
Yeah.
And so we forget what it's like to feel normal.
Right.
So I think a lot of times what happens is people who need a reverse diet just have piss poor biofeedback, and it falls into this category of like, I don't remember what it's like to feel good. The amount of clients that I've had come to me who have super irregular digestion, like they either go to the bathroom 4 times a day and are on the toilet for 20 minutes at a time, or they go to the bathroom 2 or 3 times a week.
That's just they don't want to work. They just go sit on the toilet for 4 hours a day at the office. I know you.
I know if you're getting paid salary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're on the toilet.
Yeah. We did the math one time, it's like you spend 10 minutes on the toilet every day, and you're basically getting paid like whatever, $3,000 a year to go to the bathroom if you get paid $50,000 a year. So I see y'all. I get you. But no, it's unbelievable. So some things, for you to know if you need reverse dieting, let's look at your biofeedback. Number one, like we were just talking about, what's your current caloric intake? Y'all, you know how many calories a toddler needs daily?
How many?
Between 1,000 and 1,400.
What?
Yeah. A toddler, a 2-year-old.
Yeah. Wow.
So you're telling me as a grown ass adult, you're eating 1,400 calories a day.
Yeah, insane.
And
yeah.
it's fine.
I literally have no idea how many calories I'm eating.
Probably
You could
more
tell
than
me I'm eating
1,400.
1,400. You could tell me I'm eating 5,000. I'd be like, okay, that's what it is.
Cool. Yeah.
What next?
So here's some other things that might help you understand whether or not you need a reverse diet. How's your sleep? Do you sleep like shit?
I sleep great.
You sleep great?
I literally
Quantity and quality?
Yes. My quality has been worse recently. I just wake up in pain though. It's not like my sleep is bad. It's just like body aches and stuff. Like, especially now that I hurt my tailbone.
Oh yeah.
I'll just like wake up and like, fuck, and just like roll over, and then I fall back immediately. But I've always been really good at sleeping. Like I fall asleep, like I lay down, put my head on the pillow. I am dreaming within 10 minutes probably.
Okay. I'm the same way because my biofeedback's pretty good.
Yeah.
So, but if you sleep like shit, or if you don't sleep enough, say if you only get 6 hours of sleep, yo, that's not enough.
Yeah. Like Jordan's probably in bed for 9 hours and sleeps like 5.
That's terrible. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, not just quantity, but quality.
Yeah.
If you're in bed for 9 hours and you're only sleeping for 5, or you're up 3
Just
times
laying
to go to
there
the
staring
bathroom,
at the wall.
the worst thing you can do is lay in bed and not actually sleep.
Yeah.
If you sleep like shit, then you probably need a reverse diet, or we need to look at other variables of biofeedback, like your digestion. How's your digestion?
Good.
It's good.
I think.
Okay, we're gonna get a little intimate here. How often do you have bowel movements?
Probably twice a day.
Normal.
Yeah.
Okay. So for y'all listening, that's normal. For y'all who are going 3, 4, not 3 is still pretty normal, but like 6 times a day or like 2 or 3 times a week, that's not normal. So a lot of people do that. Now, how's your recovery? You train.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My recovery fluctuates, and I've just found anecdotally that it's directly related to how much food I eat.
There you go.
If I eat more food, I recover 3 times. Like, I'm like, fuck.
Isn't
Why
that
am I
crazy?
not meal prepping? Like, I feel like a superhero.
Isn't that crazy?
And then when I'm not like literally, if I meal prep containers of food and I eat them, I'm like recovered within, like I recover 3 times faster than like.
And if you recover faster, what does that do for your next workout?
Yeah, you work out better.
You're so
and
much
harder.
more effective.
Yeah.
And if your workouts
sometimes
are
you
better,
have to miss workouts just because you're like wake up and you're like, ow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just you didn't eat enough.
Yeah, and sometimes if you're not recovered for a workout, like don't do it.
Right.
But if you can optimize your recovery, y'all, like that's the most important thing here is it's not how much can you do, how much weight you can lift, how much you can exercise, how many workouts you can do. It's what you can recover from.
Right.
If I can recover from 2 leg days a week, I'll do it.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard for me. I really go in on my leg days. When all my biofeedback is perfect, I can get away with it. But if you have poor recovery, you might need a reverse diet. I feel like we should do
might be a redneck.
I feel like we should do a segment like that. If you sleep like shit, you might need a reverse diet. If you don't take a shit, you might need a reverse diet. So other things, if you have a hard time losing weight, if you have poor thyroid function, poor hormone function in general, you have low energy, it's hard, you're not sleeping well and you're feeling tired and lethargic all the time.
That I have.
You're just tired and lethargic all the time.
Yeah. And
so,
like without knowing anything, it feels like I'm not eating enough. Like I feel like, fuck, I need to be eating more.
Yeah.
Like,
you're very in tune though.
But yeah, like I'd say sleep is good, a little bit worse recently, to be honest. But yeah, that's definitely a thing. Like the mood and energy, like I have to and that's tough.
Yeah. And we can go deep into this, but like if your digestion's off, your mood is going to be off too. Cause serotonin is produced in the gut.
Okay.
So if you have gut issues, you will experience some like poor mood.
Yeah.
Or
and
like increased anxiety.
I recently found that everything comes from your butt because I messed up my tailbone and it hurt to laugh. So
yes,
therefore laughter comes from your anus and so does your mood and your metabolism.
Everything. It either starts in the butt or the gut.
Yeah.
So yeah, you might need to reverse diet. Now, needing a reverse diet doesn't mean that you're broken. Okay. There's like, when reverse dieting first started being talked about, and Layne Norton, I think, first coined this term metabolic damage. He got a lot of flack for it because your metabolism isn't broken. Yeah. It's done exactly what you've told it to do. Yeah. If you have unknowingly been eating less calories over the years and less, your metabolism is just down-regulated. It's just doing what it's supposed to do. So we just need to do the opposite.
Yeah. If anything, it means you're working correctly, right? Because your body's getting used to what you're doing.
Your body is working correctly, but it is not working optimally.
Yeah, your brain isn't, but your body is.
Your brain isn't, yeah. So we want to optimize your metabolism. We do that through a reverse diet. Do you need to change your entire life to start reverse dieting? No, not really. But like you said, you're going to need to do some work. You definitely need to start tracking macros, and that can be hard for some people. And for those who are interested in learning a little bit more about that, I do have a new 0 to Pro nutrition education guide, shameless plug here, that that we need, or sorry, that I think would be beneficial for you. And so you can, I'm building out a ClickFunnels for that. So yes, we need to start tracking macros.
Is it possible to do it without tracking macros, or just no?
It's very difficult. Yeah. Sorry. Meg needs your keys.
My keys?
We can edit this, right?
Yeah, we can edit this. We'll edit this.
God damn it.
What do you need my keys for?
Because you're parked in front of me. Oh. I was going to take Dexter to the park.
If you're going to meet Jordan, I have her car.
Yeah, I also. We're also talking about that too. I was like,
Y'all who are watching live are getting a sneak peek into our house. What's up? Sorry, but
All right, break, intermission.
intermission. Go to the bathroom. Go get a drink. Go get your meal prep.
Yeah, we'll just no worries. Yeah, all good. I'll make sure to park on the other side.
Okay.
Next time.
I may have sounded like an idiot at some point because I was trying to read and talk at the same time, and she was like,
Yeah.
she was trying to like get through, like doing like signals.
All right.
Okay.
We'll just cut that out.
We'll just cut that out. We tried not to edit this podcast, but whatever. Okay. So where should we pick back up with, we talked about, do you need to change up your whole life? I want to talk about how long does it last? What can you expect to get from it? What you can expect to see week 1?
Yeah. I was asking you if it's possible to do it without counting your macros.
Okay. Is it possible to do this without counting macros? Yes and no. Is it possible? Yes. Ricky's mom told me anything is possible.
Right.
Is it going to be harder? Yes.
Right.
Like, imagine, okay, put it this way. You want to save up to buy a new car.
Mm-hmm.
Is it possible to save up enough money without actually paying attention to your finances?
Right. Yes, it is.
Yeah. Is it optimal?
No. It's borderline impossible.
It's borderline impossible. Like, it's very rare that you're just like, oh, I have $20,000 now.
Right.
Right. Like the same thing.
I love it when you just stumble across $20,000.
Isn't that amazing?
You just left it in your pants.
That hasn't happened to me in so
Weeks.
long. Years. That hasn't happened to me in like 31 years.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yes, it's possible. But think of your caloric intake as like your finances. Like you pay attention to your finances because you have to pay attention to how much is coming in and how much is going out. You have to pay attention to your calories too. If you want to improve your physique or your health, you have to pay attention to how much are going in and how much are going out.
Okay.
Right. So yes, you can do it. No, it's not optimal. Something that I do want to touch on is I have a lot of clients. Some are very patient. Some are not. I understand if you've been trying to lose weight for years and it's not happening, it is very difficult to buy into your coach telling you, okay, we're going to eat more and we're going to continue to eat more and more and more. And we're going to earn our fat loss phase. It might take a year. That's not something a lot of people are willing to hear.
Right.
So how long should you reverse diet for? It really depends. I mean, ideally, we go until biofeedback improves and is optimized. Like if you're sleeping like shit and your digestion is poor and your hormones are all screwed up and your recovery is in the tank, we go until all those things are perfect. Because more food, just like you notice, will improve those things.
Mm-hmm.
So we go until those things are perfect. Hormones improve, sleep improves, digestion improves, recovery improves. A lot of times what we'll see is as those things start to improve, we have less stress on the body. So the physique improves. So a lot of times when I put people into a reverse diet, even if it's just like week 1, and we'll get into this with what to expect, but we see an improvement in the physique. Because when we're stressed, stress causes inflammation.
Right.
And we're holding a lot of inflammation. You look watery and puffy.
Yeah.
So when we reduce stress,
Yeah.
you kind of like...
Yeah, and you want to see me stressed, just like make me hungry.
You are the...
feel like I'm going to fucking lose my mind.
You're one of the worst hungry people I've
yeah.
ever... And
well,
I'm
exactly.
bad.
So I'm sure lots of people are like that. Maybe
Yeah.
not to my extent.
No.
To like, yeah. But
whether or not you know it, if
Yeah.
you're hungry, you're in a shit mood.
you feel like...
Irritable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and so like, yeah, eating more calories, obviously, just in the short term, like literally day 1, you're just
Yep.
going to feel better.
You're going to
first
be
of
way
all.
less irritable.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we go until biofeedback improves. Or a lot of times with a lot of my clients, what I'll do is we go until you're like, okay, dude, this is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
This is a lot of food. This is like, it's becoming a task for me to have to consume all this food. I don't like to put solid numbers on it, but like, as an example, I love to get women up to about 2,400 calories
Okay.
because I know they can do it.
Yeah.
yeah, it takes a lot of planning and it's a lot of food, but wouldn't you rather have the problem of eating too much food than not enough food while you're improving your physique and your health?
Yeah.
And if you're eating 2,400 calories a day rather than 1,500, if you go out with the girls or go out with your friends and have a dinner and you go to, dude, you can't go to Cheesecake Factory for less than 1,500 calories.
Right.
So the amount that you'll screw up if you're eating more food, like you have a larger margin for error.
Yeah.
Basically is what I'm saying.
Okay.
So we go until you say, this is a lot of food. If biofeedback says you're done, if biofeedback is still poor and you're like, no, coach, I promise, like I can't eat this much food. It's like, it's too much. I'm like, okay, well, sorry, but suck it up because you're still not healthy. You're eating like 2,000 calories a day. I know it's a lot. I know it's hard, but we're not done improving your health. So we go until all your health is improved or optimized.
Okay. So just for me to, so I know, so basically a reverse diet would be, you need it because of the way that you are.
Yes.
Feel like you have these problems,
Yeah.
right? That like probably most of America has.
Yep.
So it's not, there's nothing wrong with you. It's not weird. Your body's reacting to to our society basically.
Mm-hmm.
But the good news is that because lots of people have it and you're not alone, there's tons of shit that you can do about it. There's, not an easy, but a more or less simple way to fix it,
Yeah.
to get yourself feeling better. So step one is recognizing that you have these problems.
Mm-hmm.
Step two would be assessing. Step two probably is getting a fucking coach
Get a good
that
coach,
can
for real.
just streamline this for you.
Yeah. Like the amount of money that you're going to spend on a coach versus the amount of frustration that you're going to spend trying to do this on your own is not even comparable.
Yeah, no, it's kind of like, it seems like a no-brainer to me. So yeah, but let's say, besides that, step two is like assessing how much food, what and how much you're eating now. And then working with a coach, because this sounds like it would be kind of a very difficult, even like for me, it would be difficult to do on my own. But working with a coach, you basically for an undetermined amount of time are going to increase at like weekly or bi-weekly small increments. You're going to increase the amount of calories that you have up until your biofeedback, AKA the problems that you identified in step one, start to go away.
Yes.
And then you'll reassess
your goals.
your goals in the next phase with your coach.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's literally eating more food
diet
to make you feel better.
Yeah.
Basically.
It's the
and then
opposite
from
of a
there
diet.
you figure out what your goals are and how to accomplish that. But
Yes.
it's getting to a healthier and more optimal place. Okay.
While maintaining body composition.
Right.
Right. So that's the important part that I want people
That's
to
what I was
home.
going to ask.
Yes.
Are you going to also get fat
Depends.
or gain size?
It depends.
You know,
if you are like, coming out of a contest prep and you're super lean. Okay. So I have one client, for example, sorry, I'm probably not talking to the microphone. I have one client, Ben, absolute rock star client, military guy, does exactly as I say, hits his macros to a T every time. Freak metabolism. We've turned out he's eating more carbs than I am, and he's still way leaner than I am. But when we first started working together, he had dieted down pretty significantly and his physique was stressed. And I could tell it was stressed. So we started his reverse diet with like a refeed, which is essentially just a bolus of calories that I give you to reduce stress on the system. And he got even leaner because his body was less stressed. So we got him super, super lean to like 7% body fat. As a male,
literally by eating more, and that
literally by just eating a little bit more.
And that was really the only change you made.
Yeah. I mean, we ate more. He really wasn't doing much cardio. That was really the only change I made. Is he was so stressed because from dieting in a linear fashion for so long that when we increase calories, an increase in calories is recognized as a reduction in stress because your body's not freaking out about where its food's coming from anymore. So it lets down its guard. And then we're able to restore some function and some hormonal function, and we have less stress, the physique improves. So
it's almost like maybe like a tagline for reverse dieting is breaking the stigma that more food equals more fat.
Yes.
Because it's not that simple, and you probably want it to be that simple because you know, if you can simplify your problems, then you can at least comprehend them. You're not going to do anything about it, but you can just be like, oh yeah, I fucking eat too much food, so I'm fat, whatever. But it's not that simple. There's all kinds of other things going on, and sometimes eating a little bit more food literally might burn more fat.
Yeah. It's about as simple as the human body is.
Right. Yeah.
Like the human body is not simple.
Correct. Yeah.
It's like, and especially comparing one individual to another. So my client, Ben, for example, you know, we increased calories a little bit through the end of his diet. He got a little bit leaner. Then he was at about 7% body fat. So to answer your question of will you gain body fat, in his case, we had to, because he wanted to build muscle.
Right. Yeah.
Your body is not in an optimized place to build muscle when you're so low in body fat, because your endocrine system is all screwed up. Your hormones aren't functioning properly. Your metabolism is down regulated. Like, we need to get you healthy first. And a lot of times getting healthy means bringing you into a more conducive body fat percentage for health.
Yeah.
Now, if you're already in a healthy state, or even if you are a little bit overweight and you have a little bit more body fat, we are going to go even slower in your reverse diet. So Ben, we went pretty quickly, needed to add body fat. If you are already in a state where you need to lose body fat, we'll go very slowly, and you will likely not add any body fat. And I do have some metrics that I'll share later.
It just depends like where you are and how healthy you are. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's why having a coach is so important, because a good coach is going to meet you where you are.
Right.
You know, like that's why there's no, like Lane Norton has a guide to reverse dieting, but it's very, very slow. If, you know, Ben, my client, had done a very slow reverse diet, it would have taken very long for him to get to a healthy body fat percentage or a healthy place. We could go faster than that. So your coach should meet you where you are. Mm-hmm. Every human's different. We need to individualize our approach. So
that makes sense.
You may not add body fat. Now the goal is, of course, not to add body fat. The goal is to limit the accrual of body fat and maintain a pretty significant weight. As we add calories, when I start to see your weight like creep up, I know we're at the top of your maintenance calories. So that gray scale that we talked about, that gray area rather, that we talked about, we're going to keep on moving that until we get to where your body weight is comfortable at.
Right.
And then we'll try to move it again, and you might gain a little bit of weight. And that's based on that and biofeedback as your coach. That's my key to be like, okay, we need to chill out here for a little bit, because right now we're at maintenance.
So you start increasing calories, and then that's kind of the only thing you're doing, increasing calories. Then you start to feel better.
Yep.
That's kind of like how you know, okay, we're approaching where we want to get to.
Mm-hmm.
And then how you know where you don't really know when you get to where you want to get to. You know when you've just gone too far, which is when you start to gain a little bit more weight. And then would you like scale it back a little bit?
No. Good question. Very good question. I'm glad you asked that. No, we stay there.
Okay.
Because if you scale back a little bit, you're just telling your body to do the same thing. You're like,
Right.
oh, no, that's too much. Like,
Oh,
pull the metabolism
so you're
back
telling your
down.
body, get used to this.
Get used to it.
Right.
Suck it
Bitch.
up. For real. We're putting our foot down.
Yeah, that's it.
For your metabolism. We're like, this is how it's going to be.
Right.
And you're going to
So maybe you do gain a few pounds then at that point.
Maybe you gain not even a few pounds. Because think about it. A pound of fat
like
is
a pound.
A pound of fat is 3,500 calories.
Right.
So for you
What
to
if
gain
you gain
pound
some
of fat,
muscle though? Or
exactly. You will.
Yeah.
A lot of times you will, because you're going to be at the top end of your maintenance. And as you're feeding your body more, it's becoming healthier. It can now focus on what to do with the nutrients that you're giving it, which is to recover and repair muscle. So you're going to be building muscle and potentially even burning fat. A lot of times we get a recomposition of your muscle to body fat in a reverse diet phase, especially if you had fat to lose. So when you get to that point where we see the scale go up just a tiny bit, and mind you, a tiny bit is like 1 pound of fat is 3,500 calories. So for you to see the scale increase by a pound, and for it to actually be fat, not water, not stress, not you didn't go to the bathroom, not you had too much sodium, a pound of fat, you would need to be eating 500 calories more than you did before.
Like every day.
Every day.
Yeah.
So if we're increasing your calories by like 30, 50, even 100 calories a day.
Yeah. Unless you're sleepwalking to McDonald's, you're going to be fine.
You're going to be fine. We'll see the scale increase by like a quarter pound.
Right.
Right. And we'll see that as a trend. So what we're looking for is trends in your weight. So once we get to that point, we wait until your weight stabilizes. We see biofeedback continue to improve. We see hunger start to increase. And based on all of the biofeedback, I know, okay, I can give you a little bit more food now.
Okay.
And then the same thing happens. It's just slowed down a little bit. Now, if we get to that point where your body starts to, we've reached your maintenance calories, I can push you past that. Like if your maintenance calories is 2,500 a day, we can continue to reverse diet without gaining much fat at all. Past that, we'll start to gain muscle. We'll continue to limit fat accrual. It'll just be a lot slower. Unless your goal is to build muscle a little bit more rapidly and we're okay with a little bit of fat accumulation, then we can go a little bit faster. In any case, the important part is when you get to that higher caloric intake and basically the highest point that you want to get to, or that your biofeedback in your body shows us that you're really healthy here, we want to stay there for an amount of time that gives your metabolism to accommodate to that intake. Because if you just go right back into a fat loss phase, your body's going to be like, oh, we remember this.
Right.
And it's going to adapt down really fast. We want to basically give your metabolism a chance at that higher intake to let its guard down and be like, all right, we're moving and grooving now. We're at 2,500 calories a day. This is the way it is. Okay, we're good.
Yeah.
That's your metabolism talking.
Right.
So you chill out there for like 4 to 8 weeks, sometimes more, depending on if you were like a chronic dieter or whatever. Then we can reassess what your goals are. If you need another fat loss phase or a first fat loss phase, then we can go into your fat loss phase before your metabolism can figure out what's going on.
Right. Or you can, depending on like, if you're going to, once you're at that point,
you can stay there.
You can stay there and then assess based on your goals. Like, are you getting married? Let's cut some fat, right?
Yeah. Do you have do you have a photo shoot basically?
Yeah.
Yeah. You want to you have an event, you're going on vacation,
Or do you want to gain some muscle? Like, we'll get heavier. Like,
so, yeah. So the goal that you have now that you've done all this work to get your metabolism upregulated to now operate like a Ford F350 and not like a Toyota Prius where your body's burning through fuel, which is what we want. Now you have the opportunity to say, okay, do I want to build muscle? Do I want to burn fat? Do I want to continue to try to recomp if that's possible? So your goal and your current biofeedback and your state of health will determine how aggressive we are with your reverse diet. So if you want to, say, be conservative with your caloric increases throughout your reverse diet, then some numbers that I look for, and this is before you get to your maintenance phase. I'm going back a little bit here. We can be conservative, we can be moderate, or we can be aggressive. With a conservative state, this person probably has excess body fat. They're probably a lifestyle client. They've probably, maybe they've reached their goal weight and their hormones are good, or maybe they have excess body fat and maybe they haven't increased their goal weight. Like I said, we're going to slowly increase those calories. What I'm looking for is either a maintenance in physique or an improvement in physique or a maintained body weight or less than a 0.2% increase in body weight gain per week. So very, very slow. 0.2% of body weight, like you're 200 pounds, 0.2% of that is nothing.
Right.
Right. If we want to be moderate with your caloric increase and you want to be a little bit more aggressive with your reverse diet, so a moderate stance here would be you want to increase a little bit quicker and you will see a little bit more fat gain. But this is, maybe for someone who is coming out of just a diet and reached their goal weight and wants to go like more into a muscle building phase pretty quickly. Then we will increase calories a little bit more aggressively. And what I want to see is, again, maybe an improvement in body composition, but I want to see at or less than a 0.5% increase in body weight per week. Still very little.
Yeah.
Now, let's say we need to really restore health and metabolism. Like when I came out of my contest prep, I was at very low body fat. Hormones were screwed up. My sleep was poor. All my biofeedback was terrible. We need to be much more aggressive. So we're going to be much more aggressive in increasing our calories. I think like when I came out of my prep, I think my coach increased my calories by like 800 a day, like right off the bat. Because we were like, all right, we got to get you healthy. And then we're looking for at or around or less than a 0.8% of body weight gain per week. So no matter what, whether you're conservative, moderate, or aggressive, we have to monitor your progress every week to ensure that we're gaining an appropriate amount of weight, if any. And again, if we're conservative, probably not gaining any, really. But you also have to be ready to be prepared that if you have weight to lose and you know you have to get healthy, sometimes that means gaining a few pounds first.
Yeah,
and you have to be okay with that. Yeah. You have to be okay with that because you're going to be healthy. A healthy body responds so much better than an unhealthy body. So we need to be okay with that.
Yeah.
So yeah, then, you know, at the end of your reverse, then you determine your goal.
Perfect.
What do you want to do? So, sorry, go on.
What? I was just curious. We're about at an hour right now.
Oof, okay.
I wanted to ask you about people of different ages doing this.
Yes.
Is this for anybody? Is this for young people? You know, like could your parents or grandparents do a reverse diet, or how would you work with clients that are older?
So the reverse diet is just manipulating the metabolism. So as long as you have a metabolism, you can reverse diet. Okay. So anybody can do it. As we get older, yes, we do see hormonal adaptations that make this more difficult. Some people in their older age have decreased thyroid function, for example. Like most of our parents are probably on like a thyroid supplement. So there may be some additional work that has to be done in order to restore overall health. A lot of times it's helpful to see blood work. So if we get blood work back and your thyroid is really poor, we'll want to assess that as we go through your reverse diet. And if we can optimize it, then we want to optimize it. That can be done either through a clinic that specializes in that, who's prescribing something like a natural thyroid, like an Armour thyroid or an NP thyroid, which I'm on because we have hypothyroidism runs in my family. Or we can try to fix your thyroid naturally with things like iron and selenium and zinc and all these other things that we know are conducive to improving your thyroid. And your thyroid is like the control center for all your hormones. So as we get older, yeah, our hormone function decreases. It's still possible because we still have a metabolism. There's just going to be much more work to do than someone who's 21 and their metabolism is already cranking. Or if they're 21 and they're healthy hormonally, like they're going to be much more responsive. So there's no one that this won't work for, is essentially what I'm saying. It's just there may be more work for some than others.
Right. Yeah, and that's why you would do it with a coach so that they can tailor this to you and help you through it based on your body.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Cool.
Yep.
Awesome. Is there anything else you want to get in today, or should we just get back into this at a later date as well? I
mean, we're at about an hour, so I think I don't want to keep this that much longer. Basically, the other things that I would have that I'd like to cover eventually would be things like, where do your calories go? Like what should your macronutrient split look like? Like how many grams of protein, carbs, and fats should you be consuming? How to track your progress.
Yeah. Let's do this, because we talked about this earlier. I want to do this.
Okay.
I think we should, obviously you do this with like all your clients, right?
Most of them.
It's
very rare that I have a client come to me who doesn't need a reverse diet, honestly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's like literally, so everybody needs
it. It is wild. Like I have some clients who are, very advanced in their training who come to me and their hormones are great or need work, but they're eating a significant amount of calories. But most people who come to me for fat loss, I increase calories first.
Yeah.
And almost every time we increase calories and their physique improves, and they have this weird look on their face of like, but I'm eating more and moving less. How is this happening?
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, almost all my clients.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think what would be really cool for both of us and for the podcast and anybody who's paying attention or listening is I'll do this. Let's do this with me and just follow along, like check in. So like what you said, like talking about protein and how, you know, like we can literally use me as a test subject for for the podcast at least, just to show how it works, like what I'm doing, the you know, yeah, what's the word I'm looking for? Like we do check-ins, the progress that I'm making.
Progress and process.
See like how it works, what's going on, you know, with my body, the progress that I'm making, all of that. Like I'd love to do this and then, you know, have this be like a thing that we check in on just to show the, you know, the power of like reverse dieting basically.
I think that would be awesome. And I think it would be really helpful for a lot of people who are in that space where they're afraid to eat more because they've been told they're going to gain more.
Yeah.
I think it would be really cool for people to be able to follow along.
Yeah.
And
because like
watch your progress.
Reverse dieting and stress management seems like two topics that we're probably just that are going to be an ongoing, an ongoing theme. So yeah, let's do that. You know, let's do it as something that we can like follow along with and just literally see the progression of it.
I love that.
Yeah.
Let's
and then
do it.
we can check in on all that stuff and just show like how it actually works.
Yeah.
Cool.
I love that.
All right.
So step one, starting tomorrow, you're going to download MyFitnessPal.
Yep.
And you're going to track everything you eat and drink.
Okay.
That includes alcohol.
Yeah. I don't really drink alcohol right now.
Yeah, I know you don't. I'm just for the listeners. Like,
yeah.
Y'all are doing this.
Yeah.
That includes alcohol. And there's tracking
unless
alcohol.
I have like 20 alcoholic drinks, I'm probably not having any.
Yeah. And tracking alcohol is a whole nother thing. And we can probably do, I don't know if we need an episode on it, but another plug that is actually how to track alcohol is in my Zero to Pro Nutrition Education Guide. So again, if y'all are interested in grabbing that guide, message me on Instagram or shoot me an email, joshlevinfitness@gmail.com. Is there anything that you wanted to cover? Anything else?
No, I mean, that legitimately, I feel like I have a base understanding of what reverse dieting is, how it works, how to get started, how long it's going to take, the progress you can expect to see from it, all of that stuff. Like I feel like I understand it. So I hope anybody that is listening to this also feels like they understand it. And I think a really, you know, like a really cool next step is basically for me to just do it. And then people can see how it works. And like, if you want to do it too, this fucking guy can lead you along of how to do it.
Quite literally my job.
It's literally his job. So
Yeah.
I'm going to see how that works. And I'm going to show you how it works.
I love that. So yeah, I think that's pretty much all we have for you guys today. We do have a ton more coming in the future. We've got some really great guests lined up, not just fitness guests, but just people who are pursuing their passion and living the dream and optimizing their mind, muscle, and money.
Yes, sir.
So if you want to support us, if you enjoyed this episode, I really hope you do. We tried to keep it concise. I think we did a good job of that. I really hope you want to support us. So please scroll to the bottom of your screen and give us a 5-star rating. It's really easy to do. Also, if you can screenshot this episode and share it on your story, that would be awesome. We got a lot of love for our first episode.
Yeah, it was awesome.
It was
Thank
really
you
cool to
guys.
see. Yeah, like for real. Thank you all so much. That really fills our hearts. So we want to be able to share with as many people as possible and get as many people as possible to help. So doing that really does help. So yeah, post a screenshot of this episode, share it to your story, tag myself at Josh Levine Fitness on Instagram, and tag Travis at Travis Hawks Media. If you guys have questions, whether or not it's relating to the pod, again, we want to talk to y'all. We love communicating y'all. We want this to be a big community. So slide into the DMs there, and we want to hear from you. So again, thank you all for tuning in to episode 3.
We have a bonus episode coming.
We have a bonus.
That's why we don't
coming.
know how many episodes we've shot.
I also, if any of my clients are listening to this, I can't count past 4.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to y'all, but I'm not
in English.
I can't count past 4 in most languages. But thank you all again for tuning in to episode 3 of the Struggle to Strength podcast. We will see you next time.
Peace.